sign this and it's public, it's like one of the port treaties, it's like giving up Hong Kong, we can't do it, right? It makes us look at what's happening. Right? Trump's gonna have to understand. He's got to private ways. They're going, guys, we have to get this through that Congress. Okay, it's this, every line of this is gonna be debated. Bernie Sanders is already saying, hey, I'm to the right of Trump, right? Trump's too weak, right? This is Trump also, this is Trump with his dick right Biden's mouth. Saying, hey, dude, you don't think they're competitors, let me show you. I'm about to break them, right? This is, I said, tomorrow is tomorrow. You should sit here. Tomorrow is the hardest day of Trump's presidency. Tomorrow, you want your show, you should open it with the
凤凰9天，嘿嘿，第一个啊，我先让你抽啊，凤凰9天，也太可爱了啊！现在是澳大利亚几点呢？凤凰9天啊，澳大利亚几点呢？你不好好睡觉啊，楚风啊，嘿。Super， 哎呀，有点不行了，这个直播了，兴奋了，有点兴奋了啊，兴奋的收不住了啊，Frank，OK。我这谢谢啊，刚刚收到的这个茶啊，但是半头先生他真不懂啊，他真不懂。疯了，这世界现在疯了啊！这个世界有点疯狂啊！这世界有点疯狂啊！哎，这边就差点儿啊，有意思啊，就不行，你说这忍不住老想抽啊，咋办呢？那我的郭叔好战友叫郭叔好战友啊！哎，我这敏感的还不行啊，我就想抽，我现在兴奋了。咋弄啊啊！今天跟战友们聊上几个小时啊，但是真不行，我这一会儿我这紧急的啊，本来有其他会，这班农先生还有其他几个朋友紧急要见。哎呀，现在是我一闻着雪茄都过敏，但是还想抽啊，咋办呢，战友们？楚风不要抽雪茄呀，趴在窗户，我要挤进来。今天真值得抽啊，真值得抽，太值得抽了。路德上刚才做了节目了，哇，哎呀，我这一闻都什么啊？不尿你啊！ 想受战友啊。这个真的是这盒还真的是没有任何人抽过啊，这个是好久没抽过。有开心的事儿，七哥好人还有开心的事儿，你还不知道呢，还不知道呢，迷糊着呢啊。真有战友，现在信息看来不行啊。Sir,
Yes, sir.
now we in the broadcast 啊，we in the broadcast. Here.
Oh, you gonna broadcast?
Yeah, no, yeah. I this boss, I never you know smoke today. We in the broadcast.
Oh, can't do it yet. No, I don't want to seem like we're over celebrating.
No, this is really need to celebrate. Thank you, sir. I representative.
No. This will go all over China. We can't look like we're too celebrating. For us, it's New York City. We're breaking the law.
This is the.
No. If we do this, trust me, this will blow back into the White House. You gotta be very careful. Are we on live right now?
Yeah,
We are.
yeah,
Have you already started it?
yeah. You know, in the broadcast, you look.
We're broadcasting. Hi.
Yeah. Say hi.
Hey.
Everybody.
We're not. I gotta be very low key. Very big day then.
They sent to White House. This what happened?
No. Your broadcast is seen all over.
This is
We don't
illegal
see-
smoking.
It's illegal in New York, yeah.
Illegal?
In these buildings, yes.
Legal? No.
No legal.
This is very privacy the building.
Yeah. Not.
We just touch, don't smoking.
Just touch. Very big day.
Very big this sir. So you look at this, all the we are friend, you
Yeah.
know, we fighting, fighter, partner, brothers. They all watch you, want to say something for you. They all the people really play, you know, really appreciate you. I really appreciate it as President Trump. Think it's a great day. It's the miracle day. It's the big.
Well,
you know,
listen, I think for the audience, you should know if you look at President Trump's tweets today, the most important thing he said is CCP, Wang Qishan has got to try to renegotiate the deal.
Yeah,
try to
definitely.
And I don't need to tell anybody in the audience
Yeah.
because they've had all the laws, all the rules, everything's always up for renegotiation, right?
Yes.
They renegotiate everything. I mean, the reason that they can come in and take people's assets,
Yeah.
the reason there's no rule of law.
Yeah.
And I think if you read the president's tweets, the most important line is that the CCP came back and tried to renegotiate this. And that's why the president said, hey, this Friday, the tariffs are going to go up, right? And I think it gets to the point that I believe he felt he had a deal, or at least an outline of a deal, and he said they renegotiated on it. And I can tell you one thing to upset Trump no end would be renegotiation.
I agree. So this is why it's a few months ago, I see. This is the signal, the trio, the negotiation must be, under this very ridiculous. This no answer. Because even you and American never think about behind the Wang Qishan control everything. They are just, waste your time, take the advantage. They want to win you, use the very loose,
I think the view here in the United States, and may be wrong, but I think the view has been that Li He
Yeah,
has been part of what is called a reformers group
yeah,
and is looking to actually reform the Chinese economy, particularly the state-owned industries, which are so inefficient, right? That don't pay the good wages to the Chinese worker and have so much overcapacity, so inefficient, and that's where the CCP also skims money for themselves, and that Li He being the lead negotiator, then maybe the deal would reflect things that were there. But clearly in the president's tweet to say I'm being renegotiated, which basically means retrade. It does. Oh, you know that you're a deal guy. You know what happens to retrade.
I really, sir, I think you is correct. You is correct. Few months ago, also we with you in the DC, you talk about this. You really worry, Wang Qishan behind the control the games. It's player America, player President Trump, it's player all the Western world. They not really want to make the deal. They just waste time. You just take advantage.
100%.
Now it's the finally have the resource. It's the 100%. You is correct.
I think it's tied to, and look, I've been a big advocate, as the audience knows, that if the Chinese people have freedom of speech, if they have freedom of religion, if they have the rule of law, look at Hong Kong, look at Taiwan, and look how the Chinese have prospered in the United States. If you give them a system where the rules are laid out, right, based upon the Western system, they thrive and prosper, right? What you have to have is the rules. And I have thought from day one that that's why I'm kind of a super hawk on this, is that anything you do in this deal that perpetuates the rule of the CCP is bad, right? And so if no deal, it affects them quicker, then we should have no deal. And I think that's, who knows? It may get worked out, but I got to tell you, I have never seen President Trump, President Trump does feel he's got a special relationship with Xi. Mm-hmm. He talks about it all the time, this friendship or whatever. That was about as tough a tweet as I've ever seen, right?
First time.
Yeah, that was hard. That was tough. I don't know how Xi responds to that. I don't know how Wang Qishan responds to that, because it didn't leave a lot of room for interpretation, right? It was boom.
I agree. This time also I really shocked me is that President Trump is Twitter very seriously, very clean.
Yeah, yes, it was a very serious. It wasn't thrown out. This was well thought through.
Yeah. This is I want.
Right.
This I don't want.
Right.
Okay. This I'm angry. I like him. Somebody. I see somebody. They very close to President Trump. They are from another country, new immigration. They long time work with President Trump. They all see. You look at this President Trump. You sometimes by fake media, you talk to them. It's true person. Personality is a very serious man.
Yeah.
Yes and no, very clean.
Yes.
So today,
yes.
It's him in the Twitter.
Yes.
They show everybody.
Yes.
This is real Trump.
Yes.
This is the true Trump.
Yes.
This I get. This is the point.
Yes.
That's very important. Go to the point, sir. How do you think next will come?
Well, let me go back to, I think, one of the things that drove it. I think you have both the hawks on both sides, like the Committee on the Present Danger, myself, and others that have been saying, for the president to think about increasing the tariffs and no deal, because a deal only strengthens the CCP. On the CCP side, you have hawks too that say we don't need a deal with the Americans. I think what happened last week at the One Belt One Road conference, I think my belief is
President Trump jealous?
No. I think
I'm kidding.
No, but I think from the Chinese side, they're telling Xi, why do we need the Americans? Right? You have 70 heads of state, including Putin, coming over and paying tribute.
What is the reason? Putin is very respect.
I think total respect. What I heard from people there, total respect. Now, remember,
who respect who? Xi or Putin?
No. Putin showing respect to Xi.
So I hear somebody tell me in the meeting. They say they look at Putin. It's very weak behind it to Xi. Also, it's all behind the Wang Qishan control. This the 70 leaders is Koto is by is the CCP. Everything things not this same the mafia meetings, not the country to country. No equal relationship, no respect.
Right.
Also, Putin is very nervous, very weak. I'm really shocked. Well, how do you think there?
I think it's.
Is it true?
Well, here's what I think. I think that they looked out at that. I'd heard some of the same things. There was tremendous respect shown. I think they look out. Remember, there's no One Belt One Road program for China.
Yeah.
Right. There's not for the Chinese audience there. They don't see a One Belt One Road.
Yeah.
Right. There's no there's no great jobs for them. There's no coming to the provinces and building great stuff. That's all their control of other countries, right? Which Wang Qishan and these guys, and then they'll skim it off the top. So, I think the One Belt One Road had a big influence on what happened today. I think that they came back and tried to renegotiate whatever aspects we don't know yet of this deal. And clearly, President Trump just said, "Hey, you're renegotiating this Friday." I do think what it opens up is that Li He is still supposed to come to America. He's supposed to land here on Tuesday, I think, and we'll have to see what happens.
So 大家知道啊，下周二啊，刘鹤还要来。关键问题，刚才班德先生说了，是上一次这个“一带一路”的会，70个国世界领导都向这个共产党磕头，包括听说普京啊都很紧张，非常的谦虚啊，在这 CCP 面前也是这个非常，他们说的很不好听的话，我就不翻译了啊。 这普京也是个领导呢，然后呢，这觉得美国说你根本不需要我们给你解决问题啊，而且你现在就是双重标准，你给我搞什么“一带一路”不提了，现在你搞那么严重。这是我完全同意的。“一带一路”那天开会的时候，我就跟大家说，我说这是作死的，我正在往作死的路上狂奔。刚才路德先生的节目就没说成重点啊。So it's the One Belt One Road is the since the meeting, the event. I talk all the in the video. I say CCP is the crazy go to the death way. Why? This is before I told everybody here with you. You know why, sir? I know the inside information. Everybody say, wow, all the world leader coming here, they nervous. They lose dignity. Everybody is, the eye is the fake laughing, but really humble. But this is not normal, because you give me some money, investment, take me, koto, bake you, and lose my dignity. This is why CCP, I see this crazy, very fast go to the death way. This is why President Trump is angry. Also, the 70 leader joining the event, the people go back. These are unhappy. And this is why I really believe the CCP, is love himself, is too much, and is too arrogant, is threatening the world. It's lose everybody give the trust. This is why, sir, CCP is double. Wang Jishan is the double designer. I don't like they say, Wang Jishan is Chinese. China, CCP is Stephen Bannon. No. Stephen Bannon is be kind to everybody. Wang Jishan just eat you, take you down. There's a difference there, right?
Yeah. No, I love the Chinese people. This is about the radical cadre of the CCP that has this plan like One Belt, One Road that has almost no benefits back to the Chinese people.
No, zero.
Money spent all over
Only
and skimmed off the top by CCP and gives CCP more control.
Also, sir, you think the President Trump is this big change? How do you think the economy is go down, go up?
Well, look, President Trump lays out, if you haven't seen the tweet, he lays out what he thinks the tariffs have done for helping the economy of the United States. He's very specific about how he lays that out. I think President Trump feels that his economic plan is working. The country's got growth. The country has jobs. Long term, I think that there are people that think that any deal would help the CCP get stronger, which nobody wants to see. So I just know that President Trump would never send out something this serious, right? Particularly given his relationship with President Xi. He would never send out something this serious unless this deal was in real trouble. And he would certainly never send anything out. Remember, he doesn't say, I'm thinking about increasing the tariffs. I might increase the tariffs. It may happen in the future. It may happen in a couple months. He says Friday, the tariffs go up. So that means between now and Friday, and he uses the term renegotiate, that means something must change pretty dramatically. I just don't see the Chinese doing it. I think the CCP right now thinks off the One Belt, One Road conference. They've got the world coming their way. They've enslaved the Chinese people, and nobody in the West is complaining about it, right? The West is not making, the 70 countries came to, any of the 70 countries go, hey, Xi, I'm here, but I got a problem. You're using facial technology to suppress your people. You got the Uyghurs, you got the Dalai Lama Tibetan Buddhists, you got the Catholics, you've got the average citizen that you totally control. You got a firewall. They can't get it. Did any of those guys say that? I don't remember that. Right? They can't said, where's my envelope? Where's my deal? So I think that from their perspective, they're sitting there going, we've got the world coming to us. So why should we change this for the Americans, right? Why should we do this? And I think that is what you're seeing in this tweet, which I think tomorrow, I believe Monday is going to be the most important day of this relationship between China and the United States, the CCP, and this economic war that they've been running. As you know, my favorite, the Bible, Unrestricted Warfare, which everybody should read. If I know it's in Mandarin. It's a must read.
超限战书啊。
And I think it's going to be the toughest. I think tomorrow right now could be the toughest day in Trump's presidency, because I think you're going to see the markets.
How do you think that?
I'm not a stock picker. I'm not a stock picker, but I would think that. I would think that given all the hype there's been about getting a deal, that if they thought a deal was coming, and I think that to the degree they saw how tough that tweet was, and they used the term renegotiate, which people realize you don't use that term unless you're a difference with the negotiating partner. I think tomorrow could be a very tough day. I think we'll know that tonight in New York. I think by the time Tokyo opens, and then Hong Kong opens, and then the Shanghai market opens, and then Singapore opens, and then London opens. By the time we get up in the morning and President Trump gets up, we'll already know what's going on. But I think it could be a very tough day, because remember, all the advocates of the deal are telling Trump the market's going to collapse, the economy's going to collapse. So we'll have to see what goes on.
Sir, this is my personally, opinion. I really believe America is the economy to go up, no doubt. But after 4 hours, it's in the Asia, Hong Kong, and Asia, and Tokyo, all the down. I think this is no
all
doubt.
Down.
All down. Also, I think very important, American economy, even signed the trio, American economy this year must be go down. Because cancel the trade deal, the ridiculous deal, the fault. This is a fault deal. This is a fault deal. I think American economy get a good, future and go up. This is no doubt.
I think part of this is tied to the Chinese economy, because the Chinese economy, as you know, the CCP puts out for the world that the Chinese economy is growing at 6.9%. Oh, thank you. Is growing at 6.9%. There's no one in China that would agree with that, right?
Yeah.
And the Chinese know that the economy's dramatically pulled back.
But I did one CCP product. 100% I know. The American, I mean, asking you. I think CCP they want to fake. Example. They are like you too many girlfriends. The body no enough energy. They eat very well. Okay? But they need to show you, I'm stronger, I have the 100 girlfriend. But they go back, they say, look, you're not good looking. The Trump coming, look, you're not good looking, you need healthy. No, I'm healthy. They go back and eat the American again. Now, President Trump, now I want to help you make the deal. You can, more stronger, good healthy economy, don't play too many girls. He said, no, I'm stronger, I can make the deal with you. So this is cheap. Try forward again to American president.
Yeah.
Now, President Trump is very quickly they know U.S. is fake. Cancel the deal.
Right.
They no choice. Go back, go to hospital.
Right.
No doubt.
Right.
CCP economy, go to hospital because him no time, no money can eat more vegan.
Right.
Cannot make more sexy. Crazy the economy fly, impossible. So this is CCP, now go to hospital, then quickly go to the cemetery.
Yes.
Die. cemetery, right? Correct. I mean, this is
100%.
now is good, sir.
100%.
All the by you teach me. Thank you. 我跟班同学交流很多英文 so you teach me is really appreciate. So sir, how do you think now? American, the life somebody really hope, really like a CCP can make the the trio deal. And
I think we may be I think this thing goes. I think it's going to be very tough to make one right now. I think this thing's going to go in a different direction. I just don't see this was so harsh unless something big changes, right? Xi almost to Trump.
This is the new central, not a new day.
Yeah.
New central. I really
Yes, I agree. There's something fundamentally has changed. Thank you.
I really believe this is new central. Today is this is the global big day, change everything. Golf, also the resource, oil, the price, economy, and the CCP, the future. And then 1.4 billion Chinese the future totally changed by today. I really believe.
Yes.
Today is a miracle day. So
Thank you, Mouse.
welcome, sir.
So
Please,
big week.
big week. By you. So you look at all the Chinese really appreciate you. Saying you is behind. Very hopeful can cancel the trio.
Well, no, I think the Chinese people that listen to Globe Media, the Chinese brothers and sisters in China should just ask CCP for one thing. Where's my One Belt One Road? Where's my deal? Right? Wang Qishan, where's my deal? How come you give these other countries deals, billions of dollars to build their infrastructure? Where's my deal?
Yeah.
Right?
This is why is that we are with Blue is very important. By social media, a lot of we are fighter. It's the brothers. They are every day with Blue and you. We every time is interview broadcast. Big hope we are Chinese can know what has happened, the truth from the outside, real outside. And the One Belt One Road is what has happened, what is going on. This is the no more Chinese trust. One Belt One Road can help Chinese can go to better and have the freedom, rule of the law. No, they cheat you, fault you more money. So this is why we are big hope. More the Chinese can know there's outside, inside truth. One Belt One Road. The fundamental the reason they want to steal to make country the money.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Okay, you either I move the camera. Only focus me. You eat. I don't.
They know that we work 24/7 here, right?
Yeah.
Rule of Law Society and
everybody.
World Media.
Everybody 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah，战友们啊，刚才这个班德先生吃东西，我把镜头给转过来啊。这个刚才班德先生讲，大家我相信也都听明白了。我这烂英文也给大家说了。真正的这一次让川普总统下定决心的，就是3个核心的原因。头2天已经大概暴露出来了。一带一路那个事儿发生和青岛的阅兵，这是为啥？我说共产党正在疯狂的在往他着死的路上狂奔，就是基于这个原因。So this I want you take it. 那么我还得服务，就是所以说这个战友们，这个yes sir thank you。那么在这些事儿上呢，看到“一带一路”的那个阅兵，还有它背后的安排，70个国家的人到那去，像像朝拜一样，还有那个阵势，包括讲的话，包括到现场去的美国人，随时给美国汇报说这就连普京见了习主席和见了这个王岐山这些人，都是这个毕恭毕敬啊。然后呢，这个美国就已经做出决定，说这个中国根本不需要跟我们合作，他就是想当老大的，那就让他当老大吧，就不要签这个deal了。所以说文贵根据此才说出来，他们正在往死亡的路上狂奔。哎呦，我这有点热，这是新的 Chrome Heart。I'm a new jacket. You never watched me. This is the new Chrome. This is American style. More pattern. 这是很美国 style 啊。所以说对不起了啊，我要脱光了，兴奋了，脱光了。所以我那天我才说，我听到这个消息以后，我觉得这就是作死的你不能现在你也做不到你挑战美国，你挑战美元你要争霸世界这个，然后“一带一路”你搞这么个会，2019，然后呢，这个背后这个国家都跟美国连，谁惹美国呀？谁惹美国呀？对不对呀？这起码的常识。所以那天我才说这个，刚才路德先生做节目做的最早，做的非常好。我在这看3个重点媒体郭先生头2天就推出去说，共产党正在往我们设计好的还有作死的路上狂奔，这是重点，就是说的这事儿第2个就是重点，我为什么说这个“一带一路”会是一个荒谬的结果原因很简单，我们来自于国内的消息，王岐山提出了11个作战方针对待中美贸易连半东先生他都不知道，作战方针就是拖然后呢就觉得下半年美国内部就出问题了，然后呢就把这个贸易给你cancel掉，再跟你谈，我就把你拖没了你这200来天川普你就没了。他不想到川普这个人的性格，他是非常3个字，非常的这个敏感的人。我跟你好，你对我好，川普真讲义气，3个字说话3句，真讲义气。但你要骗了我他跟你没完。You know, I talk his personality is President Trump. It's even you honest me, 100% I give you back, 2 times I give you back. This is the President Trump. Even you cheated me, you faulted me, I was yeah.
100%.
他10倍给你还过去。他说原来你玩我1000个理由咱们关系得搞好。 然后呢190天，然后90天，这都100多天过去了，你还是这样，他就来活了，直接25。So this is before first meeting, you know, is in the Mar-a-Lago, is the 1,000 reason only can set up same-sex relationship go to better. No one reason is a broken same-sex relationship. Then now as after G20 is 19 days. This is
100%。
这是还是，所以半农先生是与会的安排者、参与者全程，那我肯定知道一些了，合法的啊。那么再一个，这个90天 G20，我知道这些消息，这是核心啊。所以这个路德先生刚才讲，第三个更重要的战友们，大家没有关注，我在过去推这个信息当中，我说过“一带一路”啊，“一带一路”这个会就是共产党灭亡的第一个多米诺骨牌。这是一个作的开始，因为任何懂得共产党政治的人，在中国经济在3.5的情况下，你搞这么大动静，青岛清空，那么多外地的小姐到青岛去啊，让小姐进城，让老百姓全部孩子不上学，多大的怨恨，你得花多少钱啊？然后北京开这个“一带一路”的会，疯了。然后呢，你的“一带一路”的会，你关键你设计这个经济这个结构。对所有的国家就是用债权来换经营权，傻子都知道，也就是让人家先上你家来啊，借给你一些钱啊，你家的老婆我先借的税啊，你家的锅我来说了算，你家饭我先吃，过些年我再给你，谁相信你这傻话？你走来了就不走了啊，借你钱得睡着老婆，那能不可能呢？ So I talk we are friends. It's the one build one road economy in the construction. It's the borrow the money. You borrow the money, you don't need to pay, but you need manage. We are all the manager 50 years. I charge the return, give myself. This same story. You borrow my money, I go to your home sleep. I visit your wife sleep. But 50 years, after 50 years, you can take back money. But this is the fault. This is ridiculous, right?
This is what's so bad.
This is remote.
This is what the elites did in the United States about the factories. What's happening in One Belt One Road, it's the Chinese people's money.
Dude,
The debt is their money. But it's not Wan Xishan's money, it's not Xi's money, it's
Yeah.
the Chinese people's money.
Yeah.
It's being lent throughout the rest of the world, not to build in China, to basically control these countries by the CCP, and they take the money off the top.
But
Is the Chinese people getting any money back on that?
also the China money not go to the country. It's go to third party.
Right,
It's go to
right.
Wang Qishan.
Right.
It's a stealer. It's the family.
Total scam.
Yeah, total scam.
What
Yes.
is the Chinese people, it's their money. Did they get any say so?
Yeah, it for the two party, right? And then the Africa country, one build one country, and the Chinese, they take the money. Only give the few of my family.
The Chinese people had to get any money back on this? So they have
Yeah, never come back.
And no
Impossible.
jobs.
Yeah.
No jobs, no money back. It's their money.
This one is Bank of China. Then in America, just one bank buy the insurance. All the banks do buy the insurance. Why? This is Wang Qishan to Sanjay home, just 1,000 meters away. Why? They very convenient. They can move the gold. They can move the money easily, just 1 second.
Oh yeah.
This is why they suit, Middle East. And one boat were the Maluka Gulf and Africa, North Africa. They use the project, move the money,
100%.
Money laundry, then move to the Bank of China, Wang Qishan. So, 所有战友们，他们就是用这个“一带一路”到非洲去，睡了人家的老婆孩子，欺骗人家，把这国家搞惨、搞腐败，然后再蓝金黄人家，然后把钱中国人的钱全变了往岐山家去了，就像海航的一样，这就是刘成杰冠军。所以这种东西，难道全世界都是傻子吗？是不可能的，啊，这是核心，就是真的让美国总统看到了，哦，天哪，原来你这个“一带一路”就是对着我来的，既骗中国人，又要威胁非洲，然后再挑战我，然后这钱全部被你几个人弄走了。川普总统他不可能犯这种政治错误，啊，这就是为什么我让你玩，我让你玩。所以我在之前说过，美国白宫的这一届政府也会打太极了，啊，也会打太极了，也学会了，这是核心。所以说这是真真正正的啊，真真正正的现在是一个历史的时刻啊，亲爱的战友们，刚才给半头先生我跟他说呢， 有一个人要捐$10亿给班农先生说，如果2年内共产党倒了$10亿就是你的，如果倒不了的话那不行，我捐钱。他说我跟他赌2年，我2年我是不跟他赌啊，我1年我只赌1年，2020的年底啊，就是我设定的时间啊。我还是那句话，接下来的变化还更会滑稽，因为我知道王岐山想啥，我知道共产党接着会干啥啊，不是预测，内部人，我再次说一遍，共产党的9000万党员，99的人都希望他们完蛋，因为这99人知道接下去这一带一路他工资都发不出来了。然后我再告诉你，今天我爆个猛料，正在准备中，人民币换版，像印度一样废掉现金，很多贪官家里的钱都废了，啊，很多贪官存在银行的代名的钱都没了，然后就是房地产征收税，啊，很多贪官有的不动产也不值钱了，成了累赘了，你税都付不起。就你买得起车，你付不起车税，出不了门儿，啊，所以说我还是那句话，当着班农面先生话说，我们绝不能依靠任何人，只能是以共反共，啊，以人民反共，我们是替民行道，但是美国的政策是对外来的最大的一个外力。因为内部的反应会反映在中美关系上，啊，美国政府相信我们和他们说的，绝大多数共产党员和中国人民希望他们灭掉 CCP， 他们越来越相信，啊，他们的压力会成就内部的人更多的反弹，然后我们就赢了，就是这个意思。算了，我不给大家播了啊，咱今天就播到这儿为止啊，谢谢亲爱的战友们。一切都是刚开始，为14亿中国人的未来和幸福啊，干倒 CCP 啊，灭掉盗国贼祈福。谢谢了战友们啊，一切都是刚刚开始。